Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
o'clock, I will call the meeting to order. Good evening, Exeter. Good evening to my colleagues on the board, respective town staff, those in attendance this evening, and certainly those watching at home. Welcome to the December 4th, 2023 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. I'd like to start this evening by introducing the board. To my right, Selectman Dan Chartrand. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Our Vice Chair, Selectwoman Molly Cowan. Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
To my left, our Clerk, Selectwoman Julie Gilman. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Selectwoman Nancy Belanger. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Our Town Manager, Mr. Russ Dean. Good evening.
Good evening.
We have our Assistant Town Manager, Melissa Roy, back there, as well as our Recording Secretary, Joanna Bartel. Good evening, Joanna. And my name is Nico Papakostandis. Before we get to public comment, we do have some bid openings. We have two bid openings, the first of which is for the water and sewer chemicals for the chemical purchase for the town of Exeter 2024. Mr. Dean, do we have the?
We do.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, Madam Clerk, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, let's get the worksheet here. Great. It is from Coin Chemical, and they're based out of Croydon, Pennsylvania. There we go. Bid item number 1, sodium hypochlorite solution, 15% for surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered, no bid. Bid item number 2, activated carbon for surface water treatment plant, unit price per pound delivered, and that is $2.2084 per pound. Bid item number 3, potassium permanganate, free-flowing for the surface water treatment plant, unit price per pound delivered, $2.6266 per pound. And bid item number 4, sodium hydroxide, 25% for the surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant, unit price per gallon delivered, no bid. The second is from Borden and Remington Corp., and they are from Fall River, Massachusetts. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Bid item number 1, sodium hypochlorite solution, 15% for surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered, $3. Bid item number 2, activated carbon for surface water treatment plant, unit price per pound delivered, no bid. Bid item number 3, potassium permanganate, free-flowing for the surface water treatment plant, unit price per pound delivered, $2.93. Bid item number 4, sodium hydroxide, 25% for the surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant, unit price per gallon delivered, $1.4980. The next one is from Harcross, Harcros, from Nashua, New Hampshire. You all set? Bid item number 1, sodium hypochlorite solution 15% for surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered 2.2630 per gallon. Bid item number 2, activated carbon for surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered, no bid. Bid item number 3, potassium permanganate, free-flowing for the surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered 2.4675 per pound.
We went, say that again, 2.4.
Yep, 2.4675 per pound.
Okay.
And bid item number 4, sodium hydroxide, 25% for the surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered 3.2300 per gallon. This one is from Univar Solutions, UNIVAR Solutions, and they're from Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Okay. Bid item number 1, sodium hypochlorite solution 15% for surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered 2.486. Bid item number 2, activated carbon for surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered, no bid. Bid item number 3, potassium permanganate, free-flowing for the surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered, 2.91. Bid item number 4, sodium hydroxide, 25% for the surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered, 1.6652. And we have one more. This is from Shannon Chemical Corporation, and they're from Malvern, M-A-L-V-E-R-N, Pennsylvania. Bid item number 1, sodium hypochlorite solution 15% for surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered, no bid. Bid item number 2, activated carbon for surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered, no bid. Bid item number 3, potassium permanganate, free-flowing for the surface water treatment plant. Unit price per pound delivered, 2.47. And bid item number 4, sodium hydroxide, 25% for the surface water treatment plant and groundwater treatment plant. Unit price per gallon delivered, no bid.
Mr. Chair, I move to forward the bids to the Department of Public Works for review and recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next, we have bid opening for an audit RFP. Thank you, Mr. Dean. There's no worksheet for this one.
Yep.
Where's the find it? Mr. Stevens, are you looking for the single audit price?
Main audit would be the primary.
Okay. Okay, so this RFP is from Plodzik and Sanderson, that's Plodzik, and Sanderson, PA, from Concord, New Hampshire. And the financial statement audit, quote, fee structure is $45,500. I'm going to give you this to write down. The second bid is from Vashon, Kluke and Company from Manchester, New Hampshire. Page 24. Okay, the proposed fee schedule for the single audit is $37,500. One more. This one is from Clifford Larson Allen LLP from Peoria, Illinois.
Larson with an O or a T. Is that Larson with an O or a T?
Larson with an O. Allen, A-L-L-E-N. Okay. And the fee structure for the audit is $52,500. That's the last one.
Mr. Chair, I move to forward these bids to the Finance Department for review and recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, next on the agenda, we have public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to weigh in with the Select Board on anything they'd like to comment on. We do ask if your comments are relative to a discussion item that you wait until that comes up on the agenda. But with that, I'll pause. And if you do come up, please state your name and address for the record.
How much time do I have?
Technically 2 to 3 minutes, but I'll allow some leeway.
Okay, I'll try to be quick.
Thank you.
My name's Jay Garnett. Hi, Russ.
Hi, Jay.
I wanted to thank you guys for all listening to me because I'm long-winded. So anyway, I wanted to talk briefly about the Pickpocket Dam removal. I live on the upstream of it. My house is built into a 50-foot cliff just above the dam, but my neighbor's property is on the dam. I feel as though we haven't been heard as residents because we didn't know about any of these meetings that were happening. We weren't notified as abutters, and I'm very concerned with what's going to happen. There's a whole group of us, and Brentwood and Exeter residents, we're sharing information with other people about the dam and the high-risk classification. And it seems there's been a lack of discussion about it to the residents. Anyway, in 2016-2017, VHB of Bedford analyzed the Pickpocket Dam, which was at the time categorized by the state, New Hampshire, we'll call that, Department of Environmental Services, as low-risk dam, based on the result of VHB's dam breach analysis. Specifically, the model prediction that the dam breach during the 100-year flood event should result in flooding of at least one residential house. NHDES reclassified the Pickpocket Dam as high hazard dam in a letter dated March 15, 2018. VHB of Bedford, New Hampshire, then was hired to complete the feasibility study to determine how to address the dam deficiencies. Their feasibility study is ongoing and has thus far incorporated analysis of the dam surveys, state climate change data, but has not addressed abutters' concerns, such as, but not limited to, impact to the environment, impact to the properties along the rivers, alternatives to dam removal, impact to the recreational use of the river, etc. In September 23, without contacting any stakeholders who would be adversely affected by the dam removal, the town's Exeter River Advisory Committee, voted and recommended that the Select Board apply for NOAA grants for enhancing fish passage via Pickpocket Dam removal. The town of Exeter voted to apply for an NOAA grant fund to fund 100% of the dam removal and submitted the grant. Communication concern. Brentwood Board, Conservation Commission, Exeter and Brentwood abutters along the river were not notified as stakeholders most affected. Legal notice requirements were not met by the town of Exeter. Study presented to the RAC to the Exeter Select Board leaned towards dam removal while inadequately informing anyone of the options such as modifying the dam. Study determined that the house is at risk. The study determined that one house was at risk for flooding in event of a 100-year storm, 8+ inches of rain in one event, and did not include historical rainfall but relied on climate change forecasts. Normal river water level would be significantly affected. Feasibility study estimates that the water dropping up to 10 feet from current levels above the Pickpocket Dam impacting fish, wildlife, and local environment. My deal is that I don't want my house to slide into the river because that water's not holding up the dam anymore. It's literally straight down, and I don't see how the town could come in and shore up my house. How many other people risk losing their house? So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
And this is public comment, but I don't want to deliberate. I will offer two things. The first is that, and I know you were at the River Advisory Committee last week. One thing that was not mentioned is that if the town of Exeter is granted the grant. If the grant is approved, prior to accepting the grant, the town of Exeter has to hold public hearings. So it's not as if the grant application was filed. If it's approved, it moves forward. There will be public hearing processes. It's not, that this isn't the end of that. So I just wanted to offer that to you. The second is I'm very happy to meet with you offline. My email address is on the website. I'd be very happy to sit down and hear your concerns outside of a meeting, outside of public comment, and I offer that up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? Okay, we do have one attendee on Zoom, but there are no hands up. I would like to give an opportunity to see if a hand goes up. Okay, one last call. Okay, close public comment. We do not have any proclamations or recognitions this evening. So next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. And I would first ask the board if there were any amendments or revisions to the minutes.
There is one misspelling. I'm sorry, Joanne. Under the approval of minutes from July 25th, it says, and I think that should be October 25th. It also misspells Ms. Cowan's name. There's a D at the end. So I think the date is not correct either. But I can't remember what the date was.
Any other revisions or amendments? And seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the Town of Exeter regular Select Board meeting minutes of November 20th, 2023 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We do not have any appointments or resignations this evening, so we'll jump right into discussion items. And the first item on the agenda this evening is the trustees of the trust funds have a presentation for us, a recommendation. I'll turn it over to the trustees.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Select Board. My name, as most of you know, is Peter Lennon. I'm the chair of the Exeter Trustees of Trust Funds. With me tonight is Trustee Leona Salas, who will also be giving part of the discussion, and two representatives from Three Bearings Fiduciary Advisors in Hampton, New Hampshire, who would be the prospective investment advisor firm that we would like to hire, should the voters approve the warrant article that we're asking you to consider and hopefully recommend to the voters. Before I get further on that, I first want to thank you as a select board for supporting us, especially helping us fill our depleted ranks. And I also wanted to call out several members of the town staff without whom we would not have been able to do our job. And I'll just list them. First, Russ Dean, Assistant Town Manager Melissa Roy, Finance Director Corey Stevens, Senior Accountant Laura Zagopoulos, Human Resources and Accountant Gail Moran, Planning Director Dave Sharples, Russ's Senior Executive Assistant Pam McElroy, Exeter TV's Bob Glowacki, and Andy Kohler, Town Clerks, and her team of Sonia Littlefield, Jennifer Shoup, and Leanne Simpson. So we're only a board of three, but we off and on need some help, and the town staff has just been great in helping us along to get our job done. They've always managed to get us information when we've needed it and follow-up answers to any questions we've had. As I said before, we're here to seek support for a warrant article that's required by law. When you hire an investment advisor under the statutes, the trustees of the trust funds, you're required to have the voters in the school districts as well as the town consider a warrant article that would allow you to pay the investment advisor fees from the income of the publicly funded trust funds. The trustees have already the authority to pay investment advisor fees from the privately funded trust funds, all the trust funds with the names next to them. But any of the public trust funds require, at the end of the day, voter approval. And so we're here to ask you to support a warrant article. That draft language is in the briefing that we consulted with Russ and Corey about as far as the language. We need your recommendation, hopefully unanimously, to go before the town so that the town's voters can consider whether or not they want to approve us paying an investment advisor's fees. We've made the same request to the Exeter Elementary School Board, and we will meet again with them I would say on the 12th of December in a follow-up, because they decided they would like to have a little more information, so we're giving them additional information. Hopefully they will vote at that time for the warrant article recommendation. And we're scheduled to go before the Exeter Region Cooperative School Board on the 19th. And we'll obviously be going through the whole process, deliberative sessions, hearings, whatever you as a select board decide that we should do, whatever the school boards decide we should do to make the case or to be available for anybody's questions, just public's questions as well, obviously, as the decision makers on the board. You have an 8-slide briefing. We're not going to show it here. We put it in hard copy for you. We'll go low tech, and Leon will go through the highlights of the briefing. We're not going to read all of the words, and then maybe at the end, after questions, I'll pop up for just a couple more points.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, with respect to our request to you, the trustees unanimously decided to update the investment policy that was inherited from our predecessor trustees. Instead of investing in only low-paying money market bank accounts, we will invest in a more diversified range of assets, such as mutual funds, stocks, bonds, exchange-traded funds, treasury bills that have a greater potential for growth and stronger protection against inflation. Slide 4 outlines the trustees' responsibilities in this area. Under state law, this type of policy change requires us to hire an investment advisor. Second, although money market interest rates have risen as the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates, this trend is not expected to continue, and we are unable to earn even those rates with our current bank. Less than 2 years ago, your trust funds were earning 0.05%. We have negotiated higher rates, but now the rate is only 3.5%, below other available money market rates. Historically, over time, money market accounts regularly underperform almost any other type of investment asset. Indeed, we have lost buying power of the principal in the trust funds due to inflation. Slides 2 and 3 show yields over time for different asset classes. Third, our revised investment and policy takes a relatively conservative approach to investing in the trust funds. Our fundamental goals are safety and the preservation of principal, maintaining liquidity to reimburse you on a timely basis, and maximizing to the extent achievable total portfolio return. We know that maintaining principal and liquidity are important to you. Investment fees will be paid from the annual income and not principal, and a conservatively oriented, diversified portfolio is the best way to reduce the investment risk. We will structure the investments to provide a 2 to 5 day liquidity, which in the recent past you have never needed. If you have any questions about reducing risk, Mr. Zwick from Three Bearings is here and will be happy to respond. Fourth, hiring an investment advisor is nothing new or radical in New Hampshire, and the practice is widespread. According to the Attorney General's office, of about 280 towns and cities in New Hampshire, Trustees of trust funds have hired investment advisors in about 1/3 to 1/2 of those municipalities. Slide 6 highlights the benefits of hiring an investment advisor. Our prospective investment advisor, Three Bearings, has 35 municipal clients, among which are the trustees of trust funds of 12 of our neighbors: Hampton, Brentwood, East Kingston, Kingston, Kensington, Newfields, Seabrook, Southampton, Newington, Somersworth, Plastow, and Raymond. The trustees of trust funds in at least 5 other Seacoast, New Hampshire towns and cities also have investment advisors. Therefore, voters in those towns and cities previously have approved assessing investment advisory fees from the income of publicly funded capital reserve and expendable trust funds that those municipalities hold. Slide 7 lists all these towns and cities. To summarize, the trustees strongly believe that using a professional investment advisor will enable stronger growth of invested funds over time, improve the investment returns for all trust funds, minimize the loss of trust fund value from inflation, and improve the monthly and annual reporting for all your trust funds. Slide 8 is the draft wording of the warrant article for your consideration, and we ask you to recommend to the voters approval of the requested warrant article, and we and Three Bearings representatives are ready to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. Open it up to questions from the board. Selectman Chartrand.
So if there were no investment income in a period, would we still pay out?
By statute, or as well as by the warrant article, the only other way to pay would have to be in a budget line item for the town. But I think you have to admit that if there's no income, they're not going to get paid. That would be my seat of the pants.
It's hard to imagine that would happen, by the way.
Right, and that's the next point I was going to raise,
Yeah.
was that the types of investments that we're contemplating and that the investment advisors are contemplating are, for example, large capital dividend-producing corporations that have had, no matter what their stock price, whether it's gone up or down, have always had dividends.
Yeah.
So it's extremely unlikely. And then there are other investments that will be paying, regardless of, they might be paying less than what they might have otherwise in an up or down year. But we're reasonably confident there will be income.
Thanks, Peter.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I do. I appreciate bringing us into a different era of investing. And the warrant article language is, right on spot for what you want to do. My only question is, how did you are recommending Flagstar Fire, what's their name?
Three Bearings?
Yes, Three Bearings. And I just wondered how you came up with that one as opposed to trying for others.
When we changed our investment policy, that was the basis for drafting an RFQ. And we issued an RFQ for financial advisors and financial advisor services. We had a list of 10 that we invited to bid, all large banks, medium banks, investment houses, a number of the usual suspects, if you will. Of those 8, two decided not to bid, not to respond from the beginning. And at the end, by the deadline, we had 4 responses to the 8 invitations that were still alive, if you will, which Dave Sharples informs me is a fairly good response rate. And while we had originally intended to interview 3 of whoever bid, the top 3, we decided to interview all 4. And so we sat with the candidates. The other candidates were Cambridge Trust, Clarfield/Citizens Bank, and then the PDIP, Public Deposit Investment Pool, New Hampshire, has an investment advisor firm called PFM Asset Management out of Harrisburg. So we interviewed all of them, and we came to the conclusion that Three Bearings best understood our needs as trustees of the trust funds and best understood the ways to satisfy those needs. And I think if you look at the number of clients they have in our area, that we're not alone in thinking that.
Okay, thank you.
Julie asked my questions, so I'm all set, thank you.
Sure.
Peter, I have two. The first is for you. On behalf of the trustees, could you just walk through the percentage of financial responsibility of the town and the different schools? Because I would assume you've got a flat fee or something, and then...
Well, I can, if you're asking me what the fee is that you would face, I'd like to do two things. First of all, I can tell you, based on a snapshot in time of right now, which is based on the underperforming money market accounts, extrapolated out to the end of the year, with a whole bunch of other variables up and down, the town would face a $3,339.56 fee for the entire year. I'll ask you to perhaps bear with me as I beg off telling you what the other claimants' fees are, because we haven't told them yet.
Fair enough.
And I'd like to give them the opportunity to hear it from us as opposed to hear it from either the newspapers or from just reading the minutes. But at the, I'd say in the middle of the process, meaning sometime later this month, I think we'll be able to give you those numbers. The problem with this snapshot in time is that one of the major reasons we're in this process is to earn more money on a more consistent basis. And so the profits, if you will, or the income, if you will, we hope will be more. And as you know, the good news is that as we earn more, the fees go up. And there are a number of other variables that I'm lucky enough I can half understand that will impact on the fees and the way the fees are weighted through the various investment vehicles.
No, and that was fairly answered to a very poorly asked question. What I'm trying to hit home for folks watching tonight is that it's based on a percentage fee, so that the town would only be paying for the town part.
That's right.
And the various schools would be paying for the school part. So that's
right.
Okay, fantastic. My second question is actually for the gentleman sitting behind you, and I'd like to thank you, Peter, for acknowledging the town staff, because I know how hard the trustees have worked to do this, and I'm happy that staff was able to help. So Corey Stevens, our finance director, I know you work very closely with the trustees. I'll put you on the spot. Tell the board your feelings on this.
Sure. Trustees have been keeping us informed on this process for multiple months now, and we appreciate that. They're clearly a good group of citizens doing an excellent job for us. It's clear they've done their due diligence on the market for investment advisors and then scrubbed and vetted the one that they chose. Our major concerns are in line with what yours probably are and what they've enumerated, which are, minimizing risks to our funds that we need on a very regular basis, so maintaining liquidity, and then preserving principal. So our needs are a little different than perhaps a private fund where it can sit for a while and we can just use the income. We, as we knew with our park improvements, for example, we know that goes up and down on a yearly basis. We bleed that, and then we put more funds into it. So I believe in speaking with the trustees and then asking questions to Three Bearings and getting responses that their investment philosophy is in line with what we need. And I feel confident in the work that the trustees have done. So no concerns here. And I think town manager would probably share those feelings as well.
Yeah, I would agree with Corey. Most of my questions were based around the risk issues, and I think they answered them very satisfactorily. And I think it's a good avenue to go down.
Great, thank you. Selectman Belanger?
One of our first questions was on the fees as well.
No, I was curious on the sample language on the warrant article, the 5-year time frame. What was the reasoning behind the 5 years?
The flippant answer is you'll have to ask the legislature.
No, I meant.
Can you go up to the microphone?
I'm sorry. I was trying not to interrupt you.
No, I apologize.
Signals.
It's a statutory requirement.
Okay.
The either assumption or the speculation is, and this statute's been around for a long, relatively speaking, long time, that you needed to give an investment advisor firm or the industry enough of a reason to want to participate in bidding for the work, so that you wanted to provide them some kind of stability over a reasonable period of time. And I don't know why the legislature came up with 5 years. That having been said, there's no contract. We're not stuck with a particular investment advisor for 5 years if the investment advisor is not performing the way we want, or for some other reason that we don't expect. We can fire them within a day or a week's notice at best. There really is no notice requirement. It's a fire at will thing. But in the law, they established this 5-year period.
Okay, well, thank you, because you also answered my follow-up question.
Okay.
So thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Mr. Dean, I will defer to your expertise. The warrant article sample language looks good to me, but have you had an opportunity to review it?
I have, and it looks good to me. I'd like to run it by council.
Of course.
Okay. It looks good.
Okay.
And we, of course, will work with council to make sure that it satisfies all of your requirements, as well as ours, but whatever the town attorney believes and the town manager believe, obviously is going to obtain.
Great. So is the board in favor of moving forward with the warrant article?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager to work with council to develop a warrant article for the March 2024 warrant with respect to the town of Exeter adopting an investment advisor as written in the proposed warrant article
So moved.
submitted by the trustees of the trust fund. Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
to all of you for your hard work.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for all your help and consideration.
Thank you. And please express our gratitude to Pat as well.
We will.
Thank you.
He's out of town, otherwise he would have been here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. Thanks.
Hold on right here.
One of my more wordier entertainments of emotion, Selectman Chartrand, thank you for
Sorry.
get those last few in.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
Well, thank you.
It's still your superpower.
Chief Wilking, I'm going to steal your quote. It's that time of year, and I'm not talking about the holidays. It is the conclusion. Thank you, Peter. Good night.
Thank you.
The conclusion of the Budget Recommendations Committee vetting the budget, and Chair of the BRC, Mr. Bob Kelly, is with us this evening to go over their recommendations and their hard work over the last several months. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Nico. And good evening. Thanks for inviting me. As you know, I've been doing this for a bit, and I'd have to say this was probably one of the more challenging years that we've had. We've spent the last 3 months going over the preliminary budget, and there are a lot of requests, and some of the details we'll go over in a minute. But I do want to spend a minute just thanking the folks who have helped me, first beginning with you folks. A number of you came to a lot of our meetings, and we appreciate the feedback, but more importantly, looking forward, I know we'll work with you over the next couple of months on fine-tuning this, ending in deliberative session of the town vote. And again, we appreciate your support as we go through the process. Also, we had a nice interaction with the management team this year. Russ Dean, Melissa Roy, and Corey Stevens were very instrumental in clarifying things and giving us insights on some of the requests that the departments made. Not only at the meetings, but also between the meetings. Russ can attest, I've been quite a bother over the last couple of months. And finally, we had a great group, 11 of us, including myself. I'd like to just spend a few seconds and list their names because they were very instrumental. A lot of new voices on the team this year, and nobody was shy. It was a very interactive discussion throughout the last couple of months. So on behalf of Liz Canada, Andrew Elliott, Anna Grazier, Timothy Quinn, Amanda Kelly, Darden Reeves, Dr. Judy Rowan, Christine Suter, Chris Zigmont, and Dr. Anthony Swan. I'd like to thank them for the hard work that they put in as well. So I'd like to just go basically through with the way the budget was presented to us: general fund, water fund, sewer fund, and capital improvements program. I won't read every single bullet and go through every line item, but there were a couple of highlights that I'd like to either have an interactive conversation or at least let you know what our thinking was. In general, the preliminary budget was pitched to us as a quote-unquote people budget, whereby we were going to really make an effort, we meaning the town in general, really focus on not only employee retention, but also recruitment of new employees. We have a number of empty spaces in some of the critical public safety areas as well as public works, but also focusing on employee wellness and some programs that we're starting to facilitate a more comfortable working environment. And so though that added a bit, it caused the budget to be up closer to 8% over 2022. I'm sorry, FY 2023. But again, we all felt, certainly the management team and the committee felt this was the right way to go. And I think already we're seeing some fruit with that, with those efforts. There were two key additions to the general fund that added probably, I think, about $160,000 to the budget. Both of them we felt were very important. One you've already heard. Well, actually, you've heard about both of them, but the tree committee improvement, adding some equipment and really allowing the tree committee to do the work that we sort of voted for them several years ago to, culminating in us becoming a tree community. We felt this was very important. And the other one was related to the water and sewer rate study that you all got a presentation on in September, I believe. And then I came in front of you in October to talk about some of the details of it. One of those items was a fire hydrant maintenance fee. Historically, this has been in the fire budget, about $20,000 a year, and it's basically an allocation of firefighting capabilities beyond the water, because obviously it's a water-producing situation that provides the water for fire suppression, but not everybody in town is on the water service. So this is a way to allocate a percentage of what it costs to provide the water for full town fire suppression services. The American Water Works Association, if you recall, had a study as a part of the Underwood rate study that said that we should be, according to the size of the town and the size of our budget, we should allocate about $750,000 a year to the general fund, from $20,000 a year that it's been over the last 20 to 25 years. Obviously, this isn't going to happen. The Budget Committee recommended $100,000 to start, which is a fairly large increase, but we feel is a step in the right direction to, again, more fairly distribute the cost of producing or providing fire suppression services to the whole town, not just to the water users in town, which is only about 60% of the whole town. So this is a more fairer distribution. On to the water fund. The water fund, we were able to make some difficult adjustments from the preliminary budget, so we were able to reduce that a bit. The water and as well as the sewer funds have been somewhat challenging over the last couple of years because with federal regulations getting very tight on not only groundwater and surface water supplies, but then also the discharge of wastewaters to the river, have caused our chemical and equipment costs to literally go through the roof, and we've had to increase our budget by several $100,000 over the last 5 years to try to keep up with maintaining these federal regulations and our standing thereof. We also get better loan terms when we're going after projects if we are shown to be in compliance as we go. So this has helped us with some of our bonding in the past. Two critical highlights on the water fund would be we only had 4 water treatment plant operators when the plant went online in 2015. It was recommended that we have 5, but we thought we could sort of ease into it and see how things were going. This worked fine for about 7 or 8 years, but we're just finding with all of the other activities out at the campus on Newfields Road that we really do need that 5th operator. There's a lot of lab testing that's required, a lot of sampling at the groundwater plant over on Larry Lane, and we need to have that 5th operator. So we supported the Public Works request to fund a 5th water treatment plant operator to be able to interact between the surface water plant headquarters and the groundwater plant. And then the second item that has sort of added to the budget would be a support for our expanded meter replacement program. Over the last few years, we'd fallen behind. Maybe you recall about 10 years ago, we had a bond to replace half the meters in town, and we were going to chip away at the other half. As you've heard many times, the meters are our cash register. They tell us how much water people use, and then we bill them accordingly. Meters do tend to slow down, not speed up, and so the older meters we're basically losing revenue. So we recommended or supported the department's request to increase this budget and to maintain that that swapping out of older meters. On the sewer side of things, really only one significant item would be adding a 6th wastewater treatment plant operator. We are in the 4th year of operation of our new plant out on Newfields Road. Again, similar to the water plant, we had hoped to start with a smaller staff to see how everybody would interact with the new technology and all of that, and managing the regulations. We've done pretty well since then. In fact, my understanding is we've done very well. But we're at a point where we really need to add that 6th operator, again, to help maintain our compliance with regulations, as well as the expanded facilities that we're having to deal with. And we do have a better track record now, over 4 years, of what is actually required to keep that plant in compliance. Actually, one other item on the sewer side is that part of the facility that went in 4 years ago was a septic receiving facility. This is a facility that accepts wastewater septic tank pumpings, not only from in town, but from outlying towns. It's a significant revenue source for the town. And we're going to be upgrading that with new user capabilities and key cards and things like that. Right now, it's not exactly we feel like we're losing revenue sometimes, especially after hours. So we're going to be upgrading all of that. And one thing that the committee recommended, actually, though, the Water and Sewer Advisory Committee, which I also chair, recommended unanimously to increase the current fee of 8 cents per 1,000 gallons. We recommended upping that to 12 cents, and the BRC supported that, put it in the minutes, and hopefully you guys will be attending to that sometime soon. DPW did a pilot review of, I think, about a half a dozen communities in the area, and everybody seems to be in the 10 to 12 cents range. When we upgrade our facility, we're going to be the state-of-the-art facility, and we do happen to be fairly centrally located as well. So we feel that we should be more at the top end of that fee structure, not the low end. And if we do that and we max out our facility, that's going to be in excess of $300,000 of revenue. So we'll basically pay for the facility in probably about 3 years, and then beyond that, it'll be a pretty significant profit beyond that. That would be a net revenue. So I had distributed a little cheat sheet on the capital improvements program. We don't need to go over every item, but again, there were a couple of highlights. We had 17 items to review this year. There were, I think, about a half a dozen or so, maybe a few more deferrals that the management team recommended. We supported most of those, and again, it was great getting the background information on that. But basically, I'll go over my list and not the report, because they're somewhat out of order. But the key items would be the surface water treatment plant, which is number 2 on the sheet. That was originally presented as a design effort, which would be a 5-year bond, $2.5 million, which would be roughly $600,000 a year. Both the Water and Sewer Committee as well as the Budget Committee felt it was a little premature to be going into design. We thought that there was still some planning, some information that needed to be sorted out, one of which is the size of the facility. We haven't really reviewed the water uses in a detailed basis since 2004. We've had some updates in 2020 by Underwood Engineers, but we felt that a couple of years of really sussing out how the groundwater program is going to flesh out, as well as the size of this facility, would be a better way to go. So we recommended $500,000, which would be spent over 2 to 3 years, which would plan out the basis of that facility and not get right into design. The third item is the public safety complex. Obviously, we've gone through this in a number of different venues. Suffice to say that we supported this effort, the proposed public safety complex, and support is presented. And again, thank you to Chiefs Wilking and Poulin for really putting together a nice presentation, and it really helped illuminate a lot of the critical design issues for that facility. The number 5, the ADA improvements, that was originally set at $50,000. The management had suggested reducing it to $25,000. There was a lot of discussion at the BRC level, and we recommended bringing that back up to $50,000. There's a commitment in town. We obviously live in a very old community. A lot of the facilities are old, and we felt that it was important to really lead the charge on trying to make as many of our public buildings ADA accessible as possible. So that was a key change that we had. The other item was on the Parks Improvement Fund, number 8. Again, that was presented at $100,000 a year. Management suggested reducing it to $50,000. After a long discussion, the committee decided to support bringing it back to $100,000. Obviously, parks in town are a critical component of the infrastructure. It's as important as water, sewer, fire, police, or anything. It goes to why this town is a great place to live. So we felt it was important to maintain the funding of that. And then sort of tied together somewhat, is the Planet Playground renovation and the sidewalk fund. The sidewalk fund was presented at $200,000. Management suggested deferring it. And it was presented to us that there's on the Planet Playground renovation, there's a grant that we're going after that would take care of half of that. If we get the grant, then we would go ahead with the Planet Playground project. If we don't get the grant, then management suggested that since that project won't happen, that $200,000 could be put back into the sidewalk fund. The BRC recommended that if we do get the grant and the Planet Playground goes forward, that we would like to see at least $50,000 back into the sidewalk fund regardless. Hopefully it ends up being 200, but not at the exclusion of Planet Playground. But we would like to see at least the 50 put back in. And that really is the summary of the key capital improvements programs. There were about 8 vehicles that were, or pieces of equipment that were suggested. 6 of them were deferred by management, which BRC unanimously supported. The air compressor got put as part of capital outlay in water and sewer, and so the only vehicle that we recommended going forward was the replacing our vintage Crown Vic with a multi-purpose pickup truck.
Sorry, I laughed because we still have one. Do we have 1 or 2?
We have 2.
That's what I thought. Okay. Getting there.
Getting there. So, and that's our report. Again, I'd like to thank my committee, but also yourselves as well as the management team for really helping us out. And this is a pleasure to do. It's a great town that we live in, and this is a nice way to really get an idea of what goes into making this town great. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And on behalf of the board, we'd like to thank you and Amanda and Andrew and Liz and Anna and Timothy, Judy, Dr. Zwan, Chris. I know, I have them in front of me too. I'm remembering them.
Yeah,
Christine Suter and Darden. Believe I got them all there. You're right. I mean, it was a very interactive committee, and there were a lot of great discussions. Challenges,
very
respectful challenges. Everybody came prepared, informed, and it was really enlightening to watch you go through the process. So we thank you and the committee for all your work. I'll open it up to the board for any questions. Selectman Belanger, for comments?
So one comment, one of the things that I did catch up on the meetings that I missed, and during the CIP evening, Mr. Sharples had a slideshow, and there was a suggestion, and I think it was a good suggestion to add it to the end of the video that you did, you and the chiefs and stuff did. So I think that was a good suggestion, so I just want to make sure. And the Public Works Fuel Island, that's still kind of on the table because we're waiting for that report.
Thank you. Selectwoman Gilman?
Not at this time.
Okay. Anybody down here?
I don't know that I have questions yet on the budget process, which does seem to be very thorough, and thank you to everybody who worked on this. I would love for us to sort of be thinking about what kinds of communication needs we need as we're going through and thinking about what are the big projects that are being pushed to be on the warrant, how do we want to talk about them, who are the best messengers, why we decided to do what we did, and how to sort of cadence that out and think about that. So nothing concrete, but I want to be thinking about it.
Yeah, my only comment is to the process. This is my first year back on the board. I was so impressed with this budget recommendation committee and the leadership you provided, Bob. It was a lively process, and yet it was respectful, and I found it really refreshing to sit in on so many of those meetings and see how lively and respectful it was. Thank you.
And I really appreciated the consideration that the committee gave, and you kind of led off with this in your presentation, that between the town manager's office, the team, the assistant town manager, the finance director. The committee really grasped on the people budget and the struggles that we've had, particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, and understanding the true cost of having to constantly replace, recruit, retrain, rather than retain. And I was very, very happy that the board took that into consideration.
If I could just finish to Molly's point, she jogged my memory on something, and I didn't really touch on it, but it really sort of articulates, I think, the point that she was making is that the School Street design and construction project, which would involve water, sewer, as well as drainage, it's a fairly large, another $6.5 million utility project. We've had a number of them over the last few years. The upshot of this one is that we have a 35% sewer grant that's in place, which would amount to about $700,000, was it?
About $900,000.
$900,000. So about $900,000 in a grant. So normally we would go out after design, and then once it's designed, we would get a construction loan after that. We would have to do them all together now. We would maybe not even do it this year with the public safety complex and some of the other, and with the labor budget. But we felt that by denying that $900,000 grant and then waiting until next year, the year after, this project had cost $1.5 million more than it will now. So we felt it was in all of our best interest to bring that forward now. So, to Molly's point, it'd be worth somehow figuring out how to explain that to people. It's not that we want to be doing another $6.5 million project, but we would be saving $900,000 by bringing it forward sooner rather than later. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and can I just add one other thing, that anybody listening at home, if you haven't been following our budget process, it's available on our website, and the amount of work that the Budget Recommendation Committee meeting does is so extensive, and there's such great conversation, the ADA conversation, and about the number of pages that list projects and why they chose to put the money back. I just really encourage people to watch some of those meetings and learn, if they don't understand, the thought process behind each and every line item and project. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. And, we did a video for the public safety, but in addition to that, in the last year, Exeter TV has the newsletter, the weekly quick video that Bob does, and I think that, we have a ways to go, but we've drastically improved in how we're communicating. All of us going out on the road when we have the opportunity, speaking at deliberative session, and then anything else we can come up with.
Yeah, I think it's really important, part of our job should be to increase transparency and awareness, even if it's not perfect.
Agreed. All right. So thanks again to the BRC. The next item of business is a Water Street parking permit that was submitted to the town manager's office last week, I believe. And I asked the town manager to put this on the agenda this evening after I received some concern from folks in town over the lack of parking spaces. And I thought it was worth a discussion. Mr. Dean, would you like to introduce this?
Sure. This is, as the chair pointed out, this was put on the agenda because we've been hearing from local businesses in the past few weeks especially, but on an ongoing basis really, just about this project and the amount of, I think part of it is holiday season sensitivity as well, the lack of spaces that are being made available on Water Street to local businesses, and really that's at the crux of the issue. It seems like there needs to be a better plan laid out and a good opportunity to dialogue with the principal of the project, the IOKA project, to get a sense from them as to what their thoughts are. We have a request right now on our hands that would block off 5 spaces in front of, on Water Street. That doesn't include the dumpster in front of the IOKA, so if you can just visualize it for a moment. And that would be, that would be all, according to this, it would be all day, each weekday at least. And again, it would create a parking situation. And the request is through May 31st, 2024. So it's a pretty long-term commitment that would need to be made to honor this. And like I said, I know the proponents are here to talk about it with the board, so.
Okay. Sure. Do you care to speak to this? Sure. Okay. You just state your name and address for the record, please.
Jay Caswell, IOKA Properties LLC.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So what are the 5 spaces required for?
Well, ultimately, I mean, we're trying to be as painless as possible through this whole process, obviously. But ultimately, so we're good then. I don't necessarily need the 5 spaces. It was just, I was applying for the dumpster permit again. I just said, the spots. I thought we were supposed to apply for them. So when we talked to the police department, they say there's no parking enforcement and stuff like that. We're trying to be good neighbors, you know what I mean? Ultimately, we just really need the spots for deliveries because the logistics of getting stuff in and out of there it's not easy. So I thought I had to ask for the spots. So I did.
So it's 5 spots between.
It doesn't necessarily need to be, you know what I mean? It's just the days, I can't write down this date I'm getting delivery. We got to load drywall. We got to load. We're trying to be sensitive, make the guys park in the other lot, you know what I mean? So I understand this holiday season, I'll try to get anybody who's not actually actively going in and out of their van to go to the lot, you know what I mean? So, hopefully, we've gone across the road, a lot of the pain's starting to subside down. So, I think if you saw we stage at the front, we're going to start working the masonry there now. So, it's just we don't try to take those spots, we just get there early.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The guys got to work early. They go in early, there's the spots, they pull up. But we can definitely do a better job of kicking them out and putting them into the parking lot, you know what I mean? So let's tell them, load up your load and move it. You know what I mean?
So I guess my concern was, tying up multiple spots through May when you may not need them.
No, I was just kind of filing a permit.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing the right thing. We filed for sidewalk permits and stuff,
It's a lot of spots for,
I know, yeah,
Monday through Friday, all day, and if they're only there for an hour or two.
Any of them. I don't want to even be there anymore. So,
and that's in addition to the spots in the lot where the trailers with the equipment.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chartrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to lead by saying this is an extremely difficult project. To do any kind of, this is the most incredible rehab of a building that we've ever seen in downtown. So thank you for that. I want to acknowledge how difficult it is. It's very tight. Deliveries are difficult. The fact that you're sending your guys and gals to park elsewhere, I appreciate that. Keep job owning them. That's important. The most critical time is over the next month, obviously. So whatever you can do to minimize, and your word is good enough for me, I'd be in favor of approving this. As everyone knows, I'm a downtown merchant. I make my living on, part of what we do is making sure that people can get in and out of the downtown easily. It's partly why we're studying parking downtown. But I really appreciate how difficult this project is. And I appreciate that you've undertaken it.
Yeah, no, we're trying to be good neighbors.
Yeah.
It's just, we're at a point where the job's really rolling and we got a lot of people there, so it's very
exciting how much it's rolling to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people in town. So just keep putting elbow grease on it and do the best you can. And I'm in favor of approving this because he's saying all the right things.
Selectwoman Cowan.
I understand the concerns, and I also understand, if we make you wait long, it's like then it just prolongs everybody's misery. So
hopefully it's not forever.
Right.
I know it feels like it, but it'll end.
No, right. And I mean, I sort of, I guess I'm where you are of, especially if the people who are working there who do not need to be there are moving out and not parking there, and that's a commitment, then that feels like, I don't know what the alternative is, because I think we all, this project is underway. It is not ending. It is not stopping. And so then how do you deal with the rest of this? And I don't know another way.
I was just going to say, a couple of suggestions have been made to me. And one is there a way to better regulate deliveries so that the spots may be blocked off, not all day long, but maybe from 6 to 8 in the morning? I'm free-forming with that, or specific times during the day. The other suggestion that was made to me, which is a little bit, it's somewhat ancillary to this, but maybe we could make an effort to have the contractors park in the back of the municipal lot. So that would free up more spaces in the main municipal lot for shoppers downtown. So those were a couple of suggestions that came to me.
What if we were to block off like a spot towards the rear where they didn't have to find a spot, they had spots reserved there? You're doing okay on that?
Before anyone's even moving.
Yeah.
That's why we end up with those spots. But
Yes.
I mean, in terms of deliveries, I just can't, everyone's got problems nowadays, obviously. I can't guarantee the lumberyard's going to be delivering me something at a certain time, because everyone's got truck driver problems. And
right.
Trust me, I wish they were more consistent too. I could plan better, but I'm gonna tell everyone to move you don't need 5 vans for 4 guys, and just try to
So,
Can I add a couple things?
yeah, can I just ask, what would you need? So instead of, if you don't need the whole 5, what?
the only time I need those spots is when I'm getting
So you're
delivered.
still
We just
at
call out for
5?
delivery, get the delivery, and we'll take off. It's just,
So you're still at 5 spots that you would need?
because if we have a boom truck come in, I said 5.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that.
Because when a boom truck comes in, I need to be parallel on the road, on the side there. Otherwise, we're in the road, and we're screwing up enough stuff down there. We'll be able to get over to the side.
It looks like we're taking up parking spaces, but we're actually holding the parking spaces. So when the truck does show up, then we can back the truck in. We didn't do that, and somebody's going to park there, and we're never going to get to offload the.
Right.
Yeah, I think there were 4 or 5 trucks there when I drove in
See, if
this
the trucks are
afternoon.
there and we get a delivery, they pull out. I can't, if I have someone there and they're
You
at work
basically
somewhere
saving
and they're
spots
stuck in the
for
middle.
your delivery.
Yeah, it's just, I don't want to be taking these spots, but I can't think of any other way to do it. It's a problem.
The trash dumpster is in the no parking zone, so it's not taking up any parking
There's
spaces.
no actual parking.
And the guys are out of there by 3:30, so it's not like it's cutting into time.
And do you make those spots available once you're done for the day?
Oh, yeah.
You get all the cones out of there.
Yeah, they're there because the guys get to work 6:30.
Yeah.
So they pull in the pocket, It's I can make it a lot less painful. Trust me.
Whatever you can do.
Yeah,
especially over the next month is awesome. But you're
I'm sensitive to it too. You do this a lot. Everyone hates contractors. It's just the way it is. We take up a lot of space, make a lot of noise. It's just the way it is. So we'll be good to move them out as much as we can. It's just the days of deliveries, you might see cones or trucks there. So
But realistically, we're probably looking at, through late spring, early summer, and the project will be done.
yeah, it gets Christmas time. I don't
It's
want
merchants, it's the merchants big time. So if we be a little bit more conscious of having people move their trucks if they're not loading and unloading.
I will be on that tomorrow.
The big liftings, we're through that now, bringing the steel in, a lot of obviously you guys saw we did dig in the street, which was caused a lot of the upheaval. At the same time, we replaced 6 utility lines in each building almost. That takes a lot of effort, a lot of coordination. And it was really good working with the building department and the DPW to get that work done. It was tricky.
Yeah. You're doing a great job. The more elbow grease you can put on the parking thing, the better. That's it.
So, Mr. Chair, there's one more excavation that needs to be done on the street. And this time of year, we typically do not allow excavations unless weather permits. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. I didn't envision having that approved especially over the holiday season, to avoid another situation on the road like we had last week.
So is that going to be postponed?
That is my position on it, but I wanted to raise it at your meeting, so you are aware of it.
I really, during the holiday season, my vote is, I don't want, another day during the holiday season to occur like what happened last Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day that was.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
It's not fair to the merchants, and I agree with my colleague, Mr. Chartrand. This is an exceptional project. This is an exciting project, and it's a difficult project, and I understand that, and I understand the location, but and I take you at your word, but I'm looking at a document that you're looking for approval for 5 spaces to be held over the next 5 months, over which time each day those spots may not be required by you. So, I'm willing to consider flexibility here, but I think, Mr. Dean, maybe reworking the wording of the permit would be my recommendation, because again, if you're not going to need them, this ties those spots in. Once it's approved, those are your spots for the next 5 months.
Yeah.
And out of the kindness of your heart, you may move the cones, but then again, you may not.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really, really against taking away any more spots between now and December 31st. But I'm one voice.
How would that work, Nico? Like, how would we?
I don't know. I mean, that's something we got to talk about. I don't know.
And it's the last leg, we've done all these underground utility lines, with the exception of the last leg for the electric of the travel and nature building. And the thought there was bite the bullet, get it done while we still have the weather in our favor, realizing it's beyond the winter.
Can it be done in the evening or overnight? I know that adds expense, but
this Unitil was coordinated with Unitil to see if they could actually.
because you've done some of that work overnight.
We have. Anything we could do at night, we did. Working with the DPW, we did.
Yeah. If you could get Unitil to agree to that, that would be awesome.
Well, we have to do the electrical. The one we do the electrical in the day is because we had to get concrete in case that they won't do that at night. So that's why that one.
Unitil won't.
No, just the concrete companies. Because we had a mixing truck pouring it as we were going.
Yeah, that's the cure.
Thank God it's over.
Except for one.
Except for the last leg, yeah.
Well, I think I'm going down the same line as the chair in that, this document right now says 5 spots for these 5 months, period. And I'm wondering if we can reword it to fit into...
As needed or something.
As needed or upon, I don't know, you can't do it upon delivery days because you don't know when they're going to be. But yeah, I guess it would have to be as needed, because you'll know at some point during the day.
I'll know. I just can't. I couldn't give you a schedule right now.
Of what day it is, yeah.
I couldn't give you the schedule.
So maybe that's just, a simple solution.
And when we get a delivery like that, it would be like,
you'll know when it's
daily.
coming.
It would be like we plan for it. We just take that spot and leave.
Oh, and I totally get it, but that's why I'm saying this permit as worded,
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable.
That's just kind of how it's worded.
Well, is there, and this is me being incredibly ignorant about construction practices, but is it like, okay, we're not sure on which hour, but we know that there's a big truck coming today, and so we need the spots today.
Yeah.
Generally, the way we do it is, if we know we have a big delivery, I always try to schedule for first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, try to get it there before anyone gets moving. But we have to be sensitive too. I can't have it too early because if I'm delivering before 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm not supposed to be making noise.
Right.
So it's like we got to schedule it then, and I try not to schedule it when it's like rush hour time either. So generally, like we don't daily get boom trucks. I'm just saying at some point we're gonna need to get some trucks in there.
Well, and so so my question is like, so do you know? Okay, we're having a big
If it's
truck.
something I could just go like say to the town manager like a couple days before. Hey, like next Wednesday we might be needing a couple of spots. My understanding is there's no there's no design parking and no parking enforcement, so just whip in, whip out, and just, try not to be inconsiderate to anyone, try to move as many trucks as I can out of that. It's probably the best I can do to keep going.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I wonder if it's something that you could work out with the town manager to say, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, I'm going to need a parking permit. And the rest of the days I'm not, because we don't have big deliveries and we can be, pull up behind the dumpster or wherever. And then, but on those days, we need the parking because we know we have this huge delivery.
As needed.
And so I wonder if there's a way to be like flexible with our office and our process so that it doesn't have to come before the board, so that we're not holding it up.
Yeah.
Or, it just is really flexible to say.
As needed to be approved by the town manager.
Yeah.
Because as typical, the process is that the town manager's office approves the permits.
Right.
The reason there's two reasons why I put it on the agenda. It's not for us to take any action. It's the town manager's the permitter. But number one, I received correspondence from multiple people that own businesses, and what upset me was that not only did I not know about it, the town manager's office didn't know that work was being done. Mm-hmm. So there was a hiccup in the permitting process, and I don't know where that hiccup was, but it was a hiccup nonetheless. And then when this came in, and it was tying up the spots for 5 months, I really, really am all about flexibility. Yeah. And my record on this board is being flexible. So I'm not trying to handcuff you here, but I believe you, but I just, when multiple business owners come to me and they're frustrated, I just want to be able to work with you so that you get what you need done so that you can get the project finished, because it is exciting. But I also, the way this is written, I don't want to handcuff 5 spots, for 5 months when they don't need them. So
as needed to be approved by the town manager.
So I think a scenario that I would suggest is a week-to-week type of arrangement. I don't think it's a daily type of thing, but maybe a week-to-week arrangement where we can do it. We can we're open Monday through Friday. We can issue a permit once a week and maybe create some more dialogue and make sure that the goals of this process are met that way.
Does that work for you? Is that possible for you to? Okay.
So
a little more coordination, but that'll create more communication as well.
I mean, let's go tell you when we get delivery.
Can I just try to get a question in here? How much of a time or lead time do you have when your deliveries are coming? I mean, they're not going to just show up with their big trucks and say, here's your
So
supplies.
most of the swap is generally the dumpster, and that doesn't affect anyone. We come in.
Yeah, no, I mean, so you need those
So in
extra
terms of
parking
deliveries,
spots.
like we're doing some masonry work now. They're gonna be pulling. We're gonna be, we might have like a truck there, like a one time with some masonry stuff, but I was basically asking for the permit for those spots just because I was trying to do the right thing. If I had a truck sitting there, I thought I had a permit for it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Jay, I just want to be clear, like if we're asking for the parking spaces for the deliveries, but we're still going to have some trucks in front of the building working.
We still have some trucks.
Yeah, but they need to be there all day? They're getting stuff in and out of their trucks all day?
Sometimes they're in and out quite a bit.
Because you said if they don't, they can move over, right?
They don't have to operate out of there, they're not going to
Yeah, I really, just so that they have their place to
They'll probably
park,
still be
it's not.
trucks, but
I just want to be upfront. It's not like there's trucks.
It's like no one. It's
You're
not
going to have a
empty.
truck parked in front of the, we won't have all 5 spaces blocked off, but it's.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be coming.
But if they're not, if they're not needed to be there,
I get what you guys, I wouldn't say that you guys can have 5 spots and then just pull them off. I'm like, I got 5 spots. I wouldn't do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to be.
Oh, it's appreciated. This is the conversation that needed to be happening.
It's understood.
So people that were frustrated could.
I live in a small town too.
Yeah.
I know how painful this is.
And I also.
There's going to be sometimes potential delivery's going to come in, we're not going to know about it, and then you're going to have to go up to the town office and say, hey, can we get this?
Yeah, I'll just try to be I'll try to be as organized as I can ahead of time.
Proactive.
If we could say, hey, if we can get deliveries up till like mid-morning, and then anything after mid-morning, we have to coordinate or something along that line.
From my experience, that would be awesome, because peak demand for parking by our customers typically is like afternoon. So if you could jam more things up to mid-morning, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, just like the restaurants do, right? They get their deliveries in the morning, so.
And I think also that the town manager will need to know when things are going to be blocked off, because he's going to get the questions, as will the chair. So as much notice as you can give, I think that's where the week-to-week permitting comes along, or at least, if we've already talked about doing, as necessary, et cetera. Just because we need the information so we can tell people who are, I have to say, complaining. So
Can we say up to like 10:30, 11, whatever time we set for those spaces will be blocked off, and we can get our deliveries then, and then we'll open those spaces up to parking as available?
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
That's flexible. Mr. Dean, how can we communicate, again, I'm just trying to brainstorm, how can we communicate to our businesses that are affected that on a given week, there may be some spots taken up?
Well, first step is we can talk with them.
And I'll ask this question of you, would that be helpful as a business owner if you know ahead of time?
Yeah, and I don't think you have to talk to everyone up and down the street.
No,
I think you need to talk to the businesses right in that area.
Right.
So it's, it's Oba.
Crafts.
The
businesses
craft
are
shack,
affected,
yeah.
exactly.
And then on the other side, and then probably the ones across the street as well.
Is that doable from
So it's
your office?
probably like
Okay.
5 to 10 businesses.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And does the electrical work have to be done in December? The last?
Way across. I'd have to talk to Unitil. I can't really speak for them right now.
Oh, no, I understand.
Yeah.
The window's closed now because the ground's going to freeze, and then we'll be spring anyway.
Yeah, we probably have to bite the bullet on that one.
Good conversation.
Is there is that a whole day process?
It's 2 days.
2 days?
2 days of
2 days of
rerouting
crucial
traffic.
holiday shopping.
Or maybe we could leave it open that if we get some nice seasonal weather, that we could, after the holiday season, potentially.
Yeah, if you could look at long range.
Yeah, I really would ask if you could do anything possible not to affect 2 days of shopping. Because I came down and I saw that. That was, yeah. If you could do that, I mean, I understand it's winter, but.
I'm hedging because the idea of cutting a road open in January doesn't normally compute.
Why we have the not doing it, yeah.
So.
Russ, when does it open up again?
March.
March.
That's
Not on voting day.
So.
And it's 2 full days of work.
It's been 2 full days every time we've done it, because they did half a street.
And this is for the other building, not the IOKA. Yeah. I think we should stay out of this. Unfortunately.
I've raised my concerns, but.
Yeah, no, I think they're legitimate, but project's got to get done.
We'll talk with
What's the concern on January?
freezing.
Temperatures.
Temperatures,
Yeah.
which could be just as cold as next week.
I mean, in the odd year, we could have a couple of really warm days in January. I would take my cues from DPW. I mean, if they felt comfortable enough to tell me that it could be done,
Could respond.
then in January, we would roll it forward. I would do that.
No, we have to do what makes sense.
And Unitil has to sign on, right?
Everybody's got to play ball,
Yeah.
It's the last week of December between the 25th and January 1st.
That works better than now. Yeah, between the 26th and the.
From a business owner perspective?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a busy week, but it's nowhere near as important.
But you have vacation, you have school vacation, is that something you could consider?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Nico.
So those are our concerns. We appreciate you coming tonight. We appreciate your flexibility and consideration, and we'll leave the rest of it for you to work out with Town Manager's office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
You guys are
you.
doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for the
Good night,
discussion.
Hope.
Good night.
Good night, Hope. Last discussion item is more just to memorialize some work over the last month. Very happy to announce that the Select Board and the Town Manager have reached an agreement on a contract for the Town Manager that will go into effect December 28th of 2023. Of course, the current contract expires December 27th of 2023. The board and the town manager have come to an agreement for a one-year contract. We are very happy and excited to continue our work with Mr. Dean, and a copy of the agreement is in the packet and will be posted online once it becomes effective. So, Mr. Dean, congratulations, and thank you for your hard work, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the board for your support. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Okay. Moving forward to regular business, Madam Clerk, you've had a couple meetings off from this, but some abatements for you to consider, please.
Yeah, end of the year.
Good night, Corey.
Good night.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an abatement, a tax abatement for MAP 110, Lot 2, Unit 430, in the amount of $206.21 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a tax abatement for MAP 63, Lot 23, in the amount of $45.53 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a tax abatement for MAP 47, Lot 8, in the amount of $5,637.19 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a tax abatement for MAP 110, Lot 2, Unit 16, in the amount of $401.70 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a tax abatement for MAP 111, Lot 5, Unit 31, in the amount of $183.30 for the tax year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes. We have one permit to consider this evening. This is a special one-day malt wine license application from Arts Industry Alliance and Team. This is for an event to take place
Tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Okay, because it says 2022. I knew that was a typo. Okay.
And this was previously approved by Parks and Rec. The event was permitted, and this is for the applicant to be able to offer malt and wine.
So, Mr. Chair, as of this afternoon at about 3 o'clock, we were able to confirm liquor liability has been obtained, so we can say
Terrific.
okay to this.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments?
So just the whole liquor part, that was why the date of this is October 25th. So that's why we're just getting it
That's
with one
correct.
day notice. Thank you.
Yep, that's
Very
correct.
much.
Good question. Any questions or comments? Nope. Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to grant a special one-day malt wine license application to Arts Industry Alliance Team for the event to be held, for the Exeter Scholarship Fundraiser to be held at Town Hall December 5th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Dean, the town manager's report, please.
Okay, first thing on my list is to thank everyone who attended the holiday parade on Saturday. It was a great event, and I just wanted to recognize all of our staff members, volunteers as well, who make the event such a success every year, and this year was no exception. I heard so many great comments about just how well run and organized this year's parade was, so I wanted to point that out.
Right.
And then today we met to talk about 79E. That's been on the board's radar. We had a good discussion. Selectwoman Belanger was there. Selectman Chartrand was there. Staff was there. We had a lot of good conversation around goals and priorities of 79E. We took the cues from the last board meeting and what you were talking about in terms of not wanting to just sunset it or disband it, but to do more with it. And I think that that's something we can bring back to you with some suggestions as to how to move forward with it. So.
Great, thank you.
Comments on that. And then the downtown parking recap, we didn't have a meeting this week, but we do have a public meeting coming up, an open house on December 13th. That's going to be from 6:30 to 7:30, a presentation, and then 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. will be a drop-in open house over at the town hall. That's an important meeting for anyone who's interested in downtown parking because the recommendations are ready to go, and the consultants will be showing them at this open session, and people will have a chance to give their input to them.
What's the date on that again, Ross?
December 13th. And the total time is 6:30 to 8:30. The first hour is a presentation of the recommendations, and then 7:30 to 8:30 is a drop-in open house format.
Got it.
So
thank you.
And that's what I had tonight, unless there are questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Dean? Okay, moving on. Select Board Committee reports. Selectwoman Belanger.
He gave mine.
Terrific. Selectwoman Gilman.
I have nothing to report.
You're welcome.
Selectwoman Cowan.
I also have nothing to report. However, well, that's not true.
I was just thinking of that too.
I think that, the Communications Advisory Committee is eager to get out information about, especially when the sewer siphon project is starting back up again, and what the plan is for that. So while that is not, we did not have an official meeting, we certainly have been thinking about what that looks like and how we can best make sure that folks know that this is happening, know to expect it, and know why it is happening.
Great.
So noted.
Any word, by the way, on the date of?
I don't have a confirmed date, but as soon as I do, I'll let the board know and we'll get the word out to people.
Great.
Thank you for that thought. Selectman Chartrand.
Mr. Dean covered all my activities, but I do want to thank Selectwoman Belanger for inviting me to Housing Advisory today.
Yeah, glad you came. Glad you were able to make it. Good conversation we had.
Good. I had the River Advisory Committee last Wednesday, and we had an update on the Pickpocket Dam from the consultant. We had a full room here in the Novak room. We had some residents from here in Exeter that live in that area. We had some folks from Brentwood who came. It lasted about 2 hours. And the consultant, this was a regularly scheduled update, by the way. This was supposed to be, this was the agenda item for the meeting that was scheduled for the week prior, 2 weeks prior, that we couldn't move forward with for lack of a quorum. I want to thank Mr. Dean and Ms. Roy, who were also in attendance, and Ms. Roy, who helped DPW Director, Interim DPW Director Paul Vlasic, who started the meeting by having a sheet of paper up where he actually watched the Brentwood Select Board meeting from a couple weeks ago and wrote down all of the concerns on this piece of paper. And he identified each of the concerns, each of the questions, and promised that they would be dealt with during the presentation. He also invited folks to stand up and add any questions or comments, and folks did, and he wrote them down. And I think to the best of his ability and the consultant's ability, based on what we know at this time, I thought that they did a fairly good job of answering all the questions, or at least acknowledging them. Mr. Dean's office has put the presentation up online with the agenda. We told folks, they were taking pictures of the slides. We told folks that that would be available. All of the presentations, by the way, since the genesis of this, are online. Chair Huber of the River Advisory Committee is very good about having Joanna add them to the minutes. Joanna actually takes our minutes, and they're very thorough, as she always is.
As is the Select Board meeting where we received our report on the study.
Correct.
That's online as well.
So, like with anything, there were folks who got up that didn't have a full grasp of all of the facts, so we did our best to try to explain it. And obviously, it's an open meeting, and they're invited to come. And I suspect that we'll see them at future meetings, rather. As was on the schedule about a year prior to even the grant existing, the feasibility study will be finished in January of 2024, and that will be presented in February 2024. So
Yes, thank you.
So that's the update.
Yeah, all very important points, right? That we're going for the grant, but we're still waiting on the final study because it was available.
Selectwoman Gilman, please.
I'm not on that topic, but I'm going to put on my representative hat. But the bills I'm talking about are actually federal bills, and one of them is HR 3557. It's a House resolution, and it changes the cable franchise fee to actually be canceled out from being given to towns, and it will be kept by the franchise itself. And it has the name of the American Broadband Deployment Act, because they want to promote deployment, and one of the ways that happens is that the companies need to secure their profit margin. But what that would do, what this bill will do for us is really, we have a very robust TV system and recording system and all the YouTube and all the different things we do with our cable franchise fund, our cable revolving fund, and that would go away. So I would encourage you all to, although I don't believe this has been any action that's been taken on the floor yet. It did come out of the committee, come out of its committee. So I am encouraging, or actually I am asking everyone to call our senators and our representatives and any other ones you may know or care to communicate with to vote against HR 3557. And then there's also a Senate bill that is almost identical, and that's Senate Bill 340. So again, I ask you to call, excuse me, call and raise your objections. There is also, I'm going to have to put it up. Hold on a second. Excuse me. Excuse me. There is a Senate bill that protects the cable franchise fee as it is right now, but I'm afraid I don't have it in this message that I'm looking at. So I will have to do a follow-up or something. I think it's a timely kind of thing given, time of years. Oh no, I'm sorry, here it is. It's HR 907 we want to support, and that's the Protecting Community Television Act. And that's what S340 is also. It's that one we want to support. I mistook and said.
What was the Senate version?
340. It's the one I said we should not.
Oh, the one that you just gave us is actually one in support?
Yeah.
340, got it.
Those are very simple, and Senator Shaheen is actually a co-sponsor on the S340, so.
Great, thank you.
But please call.
Thank you. And then I too would like to thank the town staff that attended the parade with their families. I want to thank them for the banner.
Yeah.
And once again, thank Chief Wilking and the fire department and Chief Poulin and the police department. It was probably one of the most attended parades that I can remember. And I'm sure the good weather had something to do with it, but it was just great to see folks out. It was a great crowd. So thanks to all staff that made that happen. The correspondence, we have notification from Comcast on some services and pricing, and we have several pieces of correspondence that the board received over the last few weeks regarding the Rugg property. I took the liberty of going through the calendar for the next 3 months through the beginning of March, in fact, until the town election. Between now and then, we have holidays to navigate. We have statutory hearing dates to navigate, several other holidays, and a presidential primary that we don't want to have a meeting before. So I've come up with, we're obviously meeting December 18th, but I'm going to run some dates by the board that will take us through the town election. And if you could all look at your calendars and we can confirm on the 18th, that would be great. So I'll start, see 12/18, January 8th, January 16th, which is the statutory public hearing for the budget.
January 16th?
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That's the budget hearing?
Yes.
Public hearing.
January 29th, February 12th, February 26th.
Okay, hold on, I'm on January 29th.
That's okay, I'll go back.
February 12th.
Correct. February 26th. March 4th. And March 18th.
March 4th is the only day of the year that is a command.
I feel like you say that every year.
I do, because I like it so much.
And when is town meeting vote?
So sorry, March 18th.
The
March 12th.
March 12th.
3/12,
Yep.
this town meeting.
Correct. And deliberative is February 3rd? Whatever that says, second,
Yes.
third, February 3rd.
February 3rd.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to be in, oh shoot, that's the day of the election. Oh, God.
What, 123?
No. 3/12.
Oh, 3/12.
I guess I have to go to Little Rock, Arkansas. the next
You're
day.
on. You're up. So you couldn't be there anyway.
Yep. We can work that out between now and then.
Okay.
We got you back.
The primary is one thing, right? The March
We got you.
election,
Yeah, we can work that out.
Yeah.
And then, right,
But
and
thank you for
then,
letting us know.
and then there's the 23rd is the primary.
Yeah, everyone at home, get that in your calendar. The New Hampshire primary, Tuesday, January 23rd.
So if everybody could just come back on the 18th with a,
Yeah, those, I think they all work for me.
great. It's just difficult because you have a holiday
Oh, yeah, no.
in January, you have a holiday in February, and, especially with the primary, we don't want to be here the night before.
No.
We're going to rest up.
Because it's going to be a
Big one.
long night,
Could be, so.
that primary night.
We don't have anything to take under non-public this evening. Any other thoughts from the board? Any other discussion? That sums that up for me. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We stand adjourned. Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.